you ready, Harry?
Yes, sir.
At this time, I'll call to order the City of Joliet Public Service, I'm sorry, I just left a committee meeting, City Council meeting for July 18th, 2023. I will give the invocation as the pastor who is going to be here has been delayed and not here, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance that we should all participate in, and the meeting will be presided over by Mayor Terry Darcy. And with that, we'll say that.
Put my name tag on, I should forget who I am.
They're pretty nice, aren't they?
I think today, my only message, my main message would be is we all as a community, 150,000 plus, oftentimes need to be one. Trying times, economy, things that are happening in society as a general, and that's a reason for us to come together and ask God to help us not only make it through, but to help us all find the right solutions and answers while working with each other respectfully. With that, that's my brief comments, my brief invocation, and so let's do the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Darcy.
Here.
Councilman Cardenas.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a proclamation congratulating Joseph Awanyonga.
Proclamation whereas Joseph Awanyonga Jr. won gold at the Junior Olympics held in Lubbock, Texas, June 6 to 10, 2023, making him ranked number one and a 19-time national champion. Whereas Joseph is a 4-time Junior Olympic national champion, 2-time USA national boxing champion, 3-time silver belt national champion, and Eastern qualifier national champion. Whereas Joseph is currently training under Team USA as a junior boys high performance team member at Joliet. Whereas Joseph is the recipient of the U.S. President's Education Award for Outstanding Academic Excellence, the National Hookup of Black Women Gold Star Community Service Youth Award, the Jesse White Athletic Achievement Award, and is a AIBA International Boxing Association Silver Glove Scholar. Whereas Joseph completed an Associate in Arts and Science degree at Joliet Junior College at the age of 16. Whereas Joseph has been awarded the Busey Bay Bridge Scholarship as well as a full scholarship to attend University of St. Francis, where he will pursue a degree in marketing with a minor in business analytics. Whereas Joseph serves as an inspiration to other young individuals as he mentors youth to stay in school and stay away from drugs and violence. Now, therefore, I, Terry Darcy, Mayor, City of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, congratulate Joseph Awanyonga Jr. on all his outstanding accomplishments and thank him for the positive publicity he has brought to the City of Joliet and wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors.
Hello everyone, as you've heard of all my accomplishments, I just wanted to go ahead and continue to thank all the people that were able to come out today, thank my supporters, and also Terry Darcy for the help that he's also given to the communities through his time being mayor. I'm someone that was born and raised in Joliet, and this community was the group that helped me get to the point that I am in today. I have so many people that went ahead and helped me get to the nationals, helped me as just being also a role model for me, so I could go ahead and be a role model for others. We have Mickey's, we have Mickey's Tire and Service. He always makes sure to give us help in the car and making sure that we're able to make those long drives. We have Deborah Summers, National Black Hookup Association, and then just other people in the boxing group that went ahead and helped me, like Billy Boy Thompson. We have Roy Jones, not Roy Jones, but Roy Smith. And then, as you guys have heard of all of my national tournaments that I've won, I'm very happy to also say about my work in the school field. So I'm now getting that scholarship at St. Francis University. It's been a great help to know that I'm able to make all of these advancements in not just boxing, but school as well. So I'm very thankful for what the community was able to provide to me today with this proclamation. And I'm very happy to know that I'm always able to create new beginnings for everyone here. So thank you all.
Wow.
And thank you. I'd also like to give this hat to Terry Darcy.
Aw.
Can't be all great on.
Well, they're all ready.
Why don't you go ahead and go in front, I'll go behind.
Where's your mom and dad, Jojo?
Do his parents want to come up with him for a picture?
All right.
Congratulations.
I'm so sorry. Congratulations, I'm proud of you.
Congratulations.
Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
Motion?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Navarro?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Robert Neff.
Could I just make mention on the comments that we've got a 4-minute timer on the screen? We'd ask that you respect that, please.
Which button do I press to advance?
Left and right.
The second, the one to the right? Okay. Hi, I'm Robert Neff. I'm one of the owners of 685 Rowell, which is adjacent to the landfill site. And I was planning to speak on the annexation agreement, but that was altered, and Councilwoman Ibarra asked me to come in and talk about the conditions as they are now. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. I just wanted to quickly review the site, which, using the GIS images from the county website, going back to the Franklin Delano Roosevelt administration, you can see the quarry was filled with water and empty. So it wasn't in fact an operating quarry, it was just a hole with water in it. And the first observable landfill was in 1995, as you could start to see the filling, and it progressed up through 2022, when they had just about finished filling in the perimeter of the previous quarry. In 2004, as required by the Army Corps of Engineers, or so I was told by Mr. Bomberat, the owner of the quarry site, where their operations were still going, they were required to dig a channel around the perimeter, line it with stone. You can see the various cutbacks, all to assure proper drainage at the site. He told me at that time, once that drainage canal was put in, the water drained from the property incredibly quickly. You can see here in 2017 and 2018, while there had been some surface additions within the boundaries of the old quarry, they hadn't extended to the drainage ditches. This brings us to the time of 2019, when Joliet annexed the site. The upper left-hand image, the orange arrows show the additional material added since the annexation. And while not quite filling the drainage channel, I would also note that 2019 had an exceptional amount of precipitation, 51.81 inches, as recorded at the Brandon Road Dam. In 2020, which had 21 inches less of precipitation, the orange represents the previous additions from 2019 and the blue new additions. That was the year we had the flood. And as you can see, they've started to fill the drainage channel, which is why water did not exit the area, and why, with the inundation of rain that we had, there was flooding in the area. In 2021 and 2022, you can see they kept adding and filling in the old drainage channel. If you note in the lower left-hand corner, a channel was cut to assist with drainage post-flood, which I believe was a result of my conversations with Joliet, Mr. Scott Gasbreff, who I believed worked for maintenance or the building department. With the flood of the flood, here you see some of the damage outside. The vehicles were obviously total losses. Once the flood occurred, I started trying to find out what had happened and calling around to the city of Joliet, who initially told me that it was not within their jurisdiction, and the township and the county. I learned of the annexation and read up on it. I started keeping contact of all my notes and discussions, and I did talk to, about 3 years ago, in July 10th, to Scott Gasbreff, and I asked him if they did had an environmental engineer survey the site before they began their fill operations to see how it would affect drainage. He said they should have done that. So having read in the annexation agreement, or the materials with the annexation agreement from the Joliet website, liability insurance must be, liability insurance must be maintained. And it also said in Council Memo 252-19, P.T. Farrell will also be responsible for ensuring proper drainage at the site and neighboring properties. That being the case, I started to reach out to P.T. Farrell. Here you see the receipts from certified mail that I sent in December of that year, as they had not responded to any phone calls, any messages, any letters, or any outreach up until that point. There's a copy that I sent to P.T. Farrell, VMN Land CC1, VMN Land LLC 2, LLC 3, and the bank trust. So I sent it to all parties I could find, asking for a copy of insurance. I had no response, no reply. My outreach was completely ignored. Here you see the historical precipitation record from the Brandon Road gate, which was the closest NOAA location I could find that had precipitation records going back 30, 40 years. Here you see the records from 2001 through 2022. Although I can see the top right corner, 2021 was posted twice.
I'm sorry, we're kind of running
Okay.
over. Don't mean to
But just
stop
say
you.
that the year of the flood was not a unique rain event, and it was less than previous years. I pounded a stake in the ground to gauge water level from that point on of rainfall and drainage, which I have tracked. The only other thing I can say is, at the meeting last June, P.T. Farrell stood there, and when someone asked about floods, he said, we're not responsible for drainage, which goes against what's written in the original annexation agreement.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I rushed,
It's okay.
but this is a concern. I would hope that the city of Joliet would review and make sure that they comply with the annexation agreement as it stands now and its terms and conditions. And I would hope that anyone in the future is able to get their insurance so they can make a claim for any damages they may suffer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on the agenda item?
Mayor, if I might address, just because I know both Councilwoman Quillman last night had asked for staff to look into some of these issues, and I also got an email from Councilwoman Ibarra today asking for the same thing. So I did just want to make sure everyone is aware that we've started looking into it. I have a number of the items on the list that need to be investigated touch various departments. So each of those I've asked today to start researching those matters relative to the floodplain, to the dust and site operation issues, as well as looking into the annexation agreement and some of the legal context there. So we wanted to do that thoroughly and make sure we come back with accurate information for everyone that's asked. So if you'll give us some grace to do that research, and then we'll be able to respond to those concerns.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jack Bashir. I'm the owner of the liquor store down the street and the property, and I'm trying to sell it. And I have a buyer. I'm trying to transfer the liquor license to the new buyer. I've been there since 2006. I never had any problems. Down in report says I have too many police calls. I never had police calls. I myself called the police for 2 sick people. No fights, no interruptions in the business. It's ever since I've been there. I've been in this business for 45 years, and I'm 68 years old. I need to retire. I need to see what's left of my life with my grandchildren. So the new buyer is a young kid, and he has got the power. It's not just a liquor store. If everybody thinks it's a liquor store, it's more than a convenience store for everybody around. They come get their snacks, their pop, their water, their soda. I've been there working myself from 7 to 7 for the last 5 years. I'm getting tired. I don't know how long is God gonna take my soul. So please, feel for me. Let the other kids take care of the business, and let me enjoy what's left of my life. I really thank you. I appreciate you take this consideration. Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move on to appointments. First appointment the mayor is recommending tonight is Carla Montagano Laburi. She should be appointed to the library board, replacing Esperanza Chavez. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Next, the mayor is recommending the following appointments to the Arts Commission. Vince Logan, replacing Emily Brzezicki, and Ron Romero, replacing Eric Deshawn Doris. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is council committee reports. Finance committee report.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met here in the chambers at 5 p.m. tonight. On the Finance Committee is Councilwoman Quillman, Councilman Hug, and myself. We had a very full agenda. We have reached the 6 month point in the year. The 2022, though, is still as an unaudited finance report on this time. We received an extra $2 million from the COVID fund, but if we take that away, we are still $2 million ahead of last year. Ambulance billings that were down have recovered. Sales tax are still trending almost $2 million above where we were. Building permits, though, are down almost $2 million in revenue. The number of building permits are up. As everyone knows, as interest rates go up, there's less interest in building. Real estate transfer tax is down about $700,000. Income tax is trending down about 10%. With that, more good news is that expenses are down almost $3 million. The sewer and water fund is solid. It's up about 9% from where it was. Interest income is up a little bit over $1 million from where that was a year ago. The parking fund, as of this time, is up partially because we've had no major expense there. We had a library report where they had 772,675 visitors checking out more than 132,000 pieces of materials. The average visitor is 120 more at Ottawa Street and 60 more at Black Road. Also on the agenda for tonight is a renewal of our property, casualty, and consulting with Arthur Gallagher, which we will hear at that time. And we have started the 2024 budget discussion with Kevin Singh. Anything else you two would like to add?
No, we covered everything.
That's it.
Thank you.
Land Use and Legislative Committee report.
Okay, Land Use met here on July 18th at 4:30 in council chambers. On the committee is myself, Councilman Reardon, and Councilman Guerrero. We talked about the extension of the boundary agreement between the city of Joliet and Plainfield, Village of Plainfield, and that will be extended for another 20 years. If you want to know the boundaries, Mr. Torrey will tell us a little bit, because it's a little confusing. It's not just cut and dry like a rectangle. So, Jim, would you just explain that?
Sure. These are not changing. That's the big thing, that both sides agreed that not to change our boundaries as they currently are. They are up at the beginning of 2024, and so this will just extend it another 20 years. They go from Schlapp Road, they follow Walker Road mainly, and take a dip down near County Line Road to almost Caton Farm Road. And then they go back up County Line Road, and they follow our mutual boundaries for the most part from there. So there's no even wiggle room, even if anyone chose to look for expansion. So they mainly follow, again, our city limit lines and jog in and out from there. But just basically Walker Road is what our boundaries are with Plainfield, and that those are recommended to stay the same. So we'll bring a resolution for approval of the intergovernmental agreement, probably second meeting in August to City Council for you to see.
Thank you, Jim. The second thing we approve is an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Article 4, offenses subjecting a vehicle to impoundment, adding authority to tow vehicles for no insurance or tinted windows. Now, we do have Lieutenant Jeremy here from the police department to explain what this all is, and I won't read all my details. I'll let him explain the whole thing. Thanks, Lieutenant.
Sure, Mayor, City Council, good evening. This really was nothing new. This was on our list of towable offenses previously until the law had changed. They allowed front windows to be tinted for medical reasons, and had allowed some portions of the windows to be tinted. So then it was taken off because you needed a device that I have up there to measure the window tint in order to issue a citation. So we stopped doing that. We took that offense off because we didn't have those tools. We've since gotten those tools. The state's attorney's office is providing us with more. I have a representative, Mark Schlifker, from the state's attorney's office as well, to answer any legal questions you may have. But we go over a basic training with it. That's the tint meter itself. It's pretty self-explanatory and pretty user-friendly. If you feel that a vehicle is over or the legal tint limitations, you hang it over the window after you make the traffic stop, and it'll let you know the percentage of light that comes through the window. We go through a class with the people that give it, go over the objectives and the fundamentals, and understand the results and how you want to do it. Though that's for the citations, not necessarily for the tow, how we go about doing it. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me as well. But they measure the amount of visible light transmitted through the glass. That's what we need to make sure that we can issue a citation, make sure someone's in violation. The measurement goes to the range from 100%, which is just plain air, to 0%, which is totally black. Clear glass, float glass measures about 92% because of reflection, 4% of the front surface, 4% of the rear surface, sorry. All clear material surface reflections unless coated anti-reflective coating. Most auto glass has tint already added during manufacturing to lower the demand for air conditioning. It's regulated by U.S. federal law. We just show people how to power up and use them. This is how we train our officers to do it. That's the tint meter, and they come with pieces of glass in it. That way you calibrate it every time before you use it, and it'd be on your body cam with a percentage to show that somebody's in violation of the law. Go over the maintenance on it. It's pretty maintenance free. The only thing you have to change is the batteries. And then I went over in the IBC, the citations that we can issue for and tow, the offenses that we're asking to tow for. It's the front windshield. Many of you guys see that now. It's become a more popular thing. You see a car going up, don't even realize you can't tell that somebody's driving a thing. So in that section, no person shall drive a motor vehicle with any sign, poster, window application, reflective, non-reflective material, tinted film upon the front windshield, except that non-reflective tinted film may be used along the uppermost portion of the windshield if it does not extend more than 6 inches. So it's the first 6 inches from the top of the windshield. And then the other is your side windows. There's different variations of it based on if you've got some window tint already coming from the manufacturer or not. It's allowing us between 30 and 35% of light in there. We also give variations because your tint meter can be off 2%. And we also give, the law gives violation of up to 5% variation each side. So there's your different combinations, because you'll have multi-purpose vehicles, you have limos, you have school buses. If you want me to go, I would probably spare you some of the time than me reading over all this that goes over the ILC and the different variations of doing it. That would be for our citation. It's not necessarily the towing portion. Understanding the results, this is, again, like I said, this is more for training our officers. The 10 meters reading is a relative measurement. It's a percentage, unlike driving speed or blood alcohol content, which are discrete measurements. The meter is accurate within plus or minus 2 percentage points, as I said earlier, of true visible light transmittance. And for example, 32% meter reading means that the light transmittance could possibly be 30, it could be 34 within that range. And it's unaffected by sunlight, can be used during the day and or night. Here's just a quick visual understanding. Like I say, as we train people, this is 70%, there's no tint. There's 50%, you can see a little bit of a difference, 30%, and 20%, this is in violation. 30% would be in violation depending on if you have your back windows tinted or not on certain aspects, and then 10%. So then we just go over the steps on testing a window of a vehicle that you pulled over. This is the training for our officers. So while it's not necessary for proper operation, suggests you test your meter, supply reference samples before the suspect window. We tell them to do it because it comes with it. It just takes a second. And then you just hang it over the driver's side window after they pull it down, you hand you their identification. If it's determined to be safe, you have the driver position the window to be tested, then you wipe the window clean and place the device over there, and it'll let you know how much light's coming through it. And then that's just for documenting through tickets and pictures that would be documented through your body-worn camera as well. And this is all information just for court purposes, for for the state's attorney's office, your make and model, your tint meter, your certification, things like that come with it. The pamphlets come with your tint meter as well as, like I said, the glass so you can test it when you go through it. And then, more importantly for guys that are doing it, is they have a certification through the meters that that we purchase and the state's attorneys purchase for us. You go online and you take the test, you go through their little training regimen, take their test, and you have to forward it to our training sergeant to show that you're certified in it for it's good for court purposes as well. And that's the references I have out there.
Question, Mayor?
Yeah.
So all windows are checked, and if they are in violation, they have to get them changed out, or is there a follow-up, or how does that go?
Yeah, so that would be the part for court purposes. If they fight the citation in court, that's the problem that happens, and that's why sometimes, that's why previously I believe it was in there as a towing citation, is it's a way of trying to get someone to cooperate. You're risking getting your car towed, you need to remove that film from your window. But if you're going to court and fighting that's something between the defendant and the judge.
Is that something that can be removed easily? Do you have any?
Yeah, it's not very hard. You can peel it off and then you've got to clean the glue off the window.
Any other questions
I have one more
or
question.
comments, Rob?
Yes.
The committee?
Yeah, I know, now I think of it, right? When you were coming up, did you say there is a medical exception?
There is, so
for-
you can apply through the state for it. People with eye problems, and there are a couple other medical conditions, I don't have the list in front of me. You apply through the state, but we know that they're allowed to do it because they have special license plates. I believe it's like a W over T for window tint.
Oh, okay.
They're usually very dark. tint.
And that includes the front windshield as well?
That's correct.
Okay,
You know, I'm not sure about the front windshield. I
Okay.
don't want to tell you the wrong information on that.
okay, thank you.
Sure.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So is this something we want to start implementing now, or like, do we have like a warning period to know that this is going to start being enforced, as it hasn't been enforced for a long time? Or do we just like pull someone over today?
It has to go to council first
Oh.
for approval.
Oh, to
It'll be on the next,
I think it's
council agenda. Or is it on tonight?
I think
It's
it's
on
on
tonight,
tonight, yeah.
excuse me, I'm sorry. A little upset here earlier, I forgot.
If I could just go to your question, I mean, what I want to say as far as that, as far as insurance, is that, I mean, we have discretion as well with that, so oftentimes, Councilman must probably vouch for it as well. Oftentimes, we'll encounter the same vehicle several times, so by the time it does get towed, it's been warned several times in between that time, but I can't vouch for everybody's individual choice on what they do on a traffic stop, but oftentimes, it starts with it, that's illegal, you need to get that taken off.
So it's on tonight's agenda, Councilman, sorry.
We did have that discussion as
Yeah.
part of our meeting, that they have some discretion.
Some discretion.
And so we approved it to go to council, so land use, that would conclude our committee report, if anybody else has
Susanna
anything
still had a
else.
question.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Question, that's okay. That's what I wanted to know. How do you go from having tinted windows, now you're pulled over, what is the designation when you decide to tow? Does it go straight to tow?
No, so that's a very valid question. It's an individual choice amongst the officer. As I told the councilwoman and Councilman Guerrero the other day, as well as the no insurance, I see on a daily basis that there's times that an officer will tell someone, hey, park a car, call for a ride, things like that. So it's up to the individual officer. They usually run it through a supervisor whether a car's going to be towed for their permission to do it. But I'd like to think that oftentimes we use discretion in it. It's not anything that you're going to see, 100 cars towed a day, things like that.
Is tinted windows probable cause to search?
Not probable cause to search,
Okay.
no.
Thank you.
Sure. no problem.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Yes.
Lieutenant, what's the fine? Or once the ticket is issued, what's the fine?
So any of the towed vehicles, I believe on that policy, it's a $500 fine to the city as well as your tow fees.
Okay, thank you.
Jeremy,
Yes, sir.
is it both, or is it one or the other, or is the tint plus the no insurance?
Those are two separate.
Two separate issues,
Yes.
got it. I
There's
just want to make
a-
sure everybody's clear on
No,
it.
that's it.
Yeah, there's a list of offenses that are already, the list already exists, so we would just be adding these two components to that
Exactly
list.
right. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Going once? That concludes our report. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Next is Public Service Committee report.
Public Service Committee met yesterday, 17th of July, 2023, here in council chambers at 4:30 in the afternoon. On the committee in attendance was Councilman Mudrin, Councilman Guerrero, and myself, as well as members of staff, including the Director of Public Works, Greg Ruddy, and the Director of Public Utilities, Sewer and Water, Allison Swisher. It was a relatively short agenda. Under contracts, we had 4 items. We looked at all 4 of them. One was a $100,000 contract, low bidder being Greg W. Dobsick, for the yearly cleanup of Hickory Creek and Spring Creek. Another one was for P.T. Farrell, which is contract B for $2.8 million for road resurfacing. Again, we're doing quite a bit more road resurfacing in recent years. This year it's going to be roughly almost $18 million. So that's just one of the contracts that went out to bid. A sealed bid and were opened. We looked at a professional services agreement for storm sewer GIS mapping project. This is the second contract, and the low bidder or request for proposals was Twig Technologies in the amount of $220,000. And we looked at the purchase of water metering equipment from Core Maine at $134,520. We recently did a large purchase of small meters. These are large meters, so this is commercial and industrial meters that are obviously installed into these buildings so that we can track the water usage. All 4 items were vetted by the council, by the committee, by the 3 of us, and all 4 were unanimously approved for recommendation to the full council for approval here. Under change orders, pay estimates, and final payments, there was again 4 items there. One was, has to do with the sidewalk vault improvements, which are connected to the downtown plaza, ultimately, and the continued improvement of Chicago Street. And there were some things that were found that needed to be addressed once they got into the vaults. So a change order for $369,000 was brought up. We did have one question. Greg, did we check on that and make sure?
Yeah, I did send out an email to the Public Service Committee earlier today.
Okay, I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, so 2 of the items, one was asbestos removal from a pipe that was located in one of the vaults. That was a vault that was not in use, so it would be, in city responsibility. The other was an underground storage tank. Also, the vault was not in use, same vault, it had to be removed. The vault had been walled off and was not in use, so that would be city responsibility. And we were adding an additional vault at I believe it's the Woodruff building, and there was a question on the steam pipes in there. We looked at the steam pipes. There's a steam pipe, there's electrical in there, there's various units. It's not, various utilities, it's not feasible to fill it in based on our vaulted walk policy. Therefore, we'll repair it, and those items will remain in there. But the property owner wouldn't be responsible for the walk.
So all 3 vaults are not being used in a private sector manner?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the one just has utility right of ways, just like we do down our side of our yard.
It does. The steam pipes are for the use of the building, I believe. But again, we looked at the feasibility of filling it in, and it's not feasible to fill it in, so.
Because we still have the electrical and
Correct.
other
There's
utilities.
other items in there.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Yeah, thank you for bringing it back. To explain what they were talking about, we just wanted to make sure if there's any vaults that are being currently used by the building owner for storage, for things of that nature, actually actively used, then it's their responsibility to stabilize them. Otherwise, vaults are considered vacant, and the city has, does pay for it, and we determined all 3 were essentially vacant.
That's correct.
Thank you. So other than that, we also looked at an amendment on the sanitary sewer investigations rehabilitation program in the amount of $27,515. That's an ongoing, never stops program in the water and sewer department to look at water and sewer, drainage, leaks, things of that nature. So we also looked at a sanitary rehabilitation program from 2021. We're gonna go in a new direction with that and just name it something different than the year, because some people might be like, it's 2023. Again, this is an ongoing process. This particular contract started in 2021, and we continue to do the investigations to find leaks, to find problems in the water and the sewer system. It's preventative maintenance to a degree. We looked at all 4 items, and again, we discussed and vetted them, and all 3 of us unanimously agreed to send them forward with a recommendation to approve to this full council. And under ordinance and resolutions, there was an ordinance amending the 2023 water and sewer enterprise budget, and that was for phase 4 of the combined sewer overflow, which of course many people are familiar, the combined sewer overflow program is mandated by the EPA. Older cities such as Joliet, Aurora, and other ones are still in the process in the older portions of town of separating the sanitary sewer from the storm sewer. Again, we looked at the ordinance and resolutions, and there was another one that was the purchase of about 6 pieces of property, which is for the Greenfield Lift Station, a city project, where we needed to get land to build and expand that particular lift station. So we looked over those, and they all came in looking fine, and again, all 3 items were unanimously approved to be sent here with the committee's recommendation for council approval. And other than that, I don't have anything else. Caesar, Pat?
Oh, we're good.
So with that said, Mayor, that would be the report on public service.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the council meeting held on July 5th stand approved as recorded. Invoices to be paid. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 353-23, June 2023 payrolls. It's recommended these payrolls be approved. Council Memo 354-23, award of contract for the 2023 through 2025 Joliet Fire Department Medical and Fitness Evaluations, RFP to Rock Valley Health in the amount of $362,976. Council Memo 355-23, authorization to award contract for the proposed renewal of workers' compensation broker services. Council Memo 356-23, authorization to award contract for the proposed renewal of property and casualty coverages. Council Memo 357-23, request to upgrade exchange Glock firearms for sworn officers. Council Memo 358-23, request to approve a spring lease payment to Jackie Stunkel in the amount of $39,900. Council Memo 359-23, request to purchase 2 Navistar large dump trucks under State of Illinois purchasing agreement for $313,780.16. Council Memo 360-23, renewal of contract 2657-0822 for the 2022-2023 small meter replacement program with Calumet City Plumbing in the amount of $1,043,169.75. Council Memo 361-23, change order number 1 for the 2023 sanitary sewer cleaning and investigations program to National Power Rotting in the amount of $45,000. Council Memo 362-23, change order number 1 for the sidewalk vault improvements, 16 West Van Buren and 79 North Chicago to Lindblad Construction Company of Joliet in the amount of $369,041. It's recommended Council Memos 354-23 through 362-23 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 364-23, an application for a drive-through permit for 7 Brew Restaurant at 2421 Jefferson Street. It's recommended this permit be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 365-23, issuance of a Class E liquor license at 2298 Essington Road, Taco Mex Restaurant. It's recommended this license be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 366-23, issuance of a Class B liquor license at 1119 Essington Road, Angie's Pancake House. It's recommended this license be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 367-23, an issuance of a Class D liquor license at 1866 West Jefferson Street, Pop's Italian Beef. It's recommended this license be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 368-23, transfer of a Class C liquor license at 1005 Essington Road, Liquor Town. It's recommended this transfer be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 369-23, denial of a Class C liquor license at 1224 South Richard Street, Family Dollar. It's recommended the Class C liquor license for Family Dollar located at 1224 South Richard Street be denied.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to deny the Class C liquor license for Family Dollar at 1224 South Richard Street. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 370-23, denial of a transfer of Class C liquor license at 83 West Jefferson Street, Rica's Food and Liquor Corporation. It's recommended this transfer of the Class C liquor license at 83 West Jefferson Street be denied.
Mayor?
Mayor.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
I spoke with the mayor earlier, and of course, the owner spoke tonight, but the mayor was already on the same page as me, that maybe they need to sit down with him in his capacity as liquor commissioner and have a conversation, both the current owner as well as the applicant transfer. You know, we discussed that just before this meeting, and so I told him at that point, based on that I would call for a table, that we table this matter until such a time that the liquor commissioner does the communication that you had said, Mayor, and decides how they want to send it back with whatever kind of recommendation they want.
No, you call the table, there isn't a second, we can talk about it, right? I had two questions.
Yeah.
If that's okay, Mayor. What experience does the applicant have? I was looking for that in the documents, and then, is this being leased out, Jack, or are you selling the whole building, or what? Can you come, thanks.
I do own the property and I am leasing it to him. And I'm gonna be with him for about a month or two to train him. And plus, he did took classes with the state for how to handle the liquor sales and the people.
Yeah, the Bassett training, how much experience does he have? Can you answer on his behalf, or?
Well, no,
Do you
he
know?
doesn't have experience in it.
Okay, all right,
That's why I wanna stay with him.
okay, thank you. If there's no other questions, I'll second the table.
It's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 370-23, which is a denial of transfer of a Class C liquor license at 83 West Jefferson Street, Rica's Food and Liquor Corporation. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 370-23 is tabled. Next, under public hearings, Council Memo 372-23, a public hearing for a resolution approving the First Amendment to the annexation agreement for 620 Sandal Place and 800 Richard Street. Council Memo 372-23 is withdrawn for the petitioner. Next is Council Memo 374-23, an ordinance amending the 2023 Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund budget. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 375-23, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a trucking maintenance facility located at 2404 Reeves Road. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
In motion and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 376-23, ordinances associated with 324 South Larkin Avenue. This includes an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow a gas station in a B1 neighborhood business zoning district located at 324 South Larkin Avenue, and an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a gas station located at 324 South Larkin Avenue. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 377-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Article 4, Section 19-266, offenses subjecting a vehicle to impoundment, adding authority to tow vehicles for no insurance and tinted windows. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
Mayor?
Yes.
Well, just as a point of order now, I don't know if we should be having discussion before the motion is made, or do we need a motion to be made first to open up discussion?
You make the motion, have it seconded, and then have your discussion.
Well, wait for,
Is there a
So moved.
motion to approve Council Memo 377-23?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
so I had a few concerns with this ordinance here. So previously in our committee meeting, we had a resident, Jerry Hervey, came and spoke, brought up a few questions. I didn't quite have the words at the time to articulate my thoughts on the subject, but given it some consideration since, and I think that I would have to be in agreement with him when saying that towing vehicles for these purposes might be a bit excessive. I certainly can say that the residents that I've spoken with concerning this issue, all agree how disruptive having your vehicle towed can be, especially for working class folks. Not having reliable transportation is cause for attendance points, which is cause for termination. It can just cause a really whole series of bad events to happen for something that I think can be avoided. So this is one of those issues that's nuanced. I definitely understand why it's being brought forward. We certainly don't want bad drivers to be on the road, but I feel that towing vehicles for tinted windows is just a bit heavy-handed.
Mayor?
Yes.
I agree with Caesar. I think if we would have separated these two things out, no insurance being separate from tinted windows, because I think for tinted windows, that's extremely harsh. That's a huge fine, and that is so disruptive to someone's life for tinted windows. So I agree with Caesar on this one. Thank you.
Mayor, as a former police officer, I've experienced this, and it is dangerous for the officer. I don't think the Joliet police are going to run around and tow every vehicle that has tinted windows. We just heard from and I respect your guys' comments. It's just discussion and comments here, but You know, I don't think we're gonna be towing every vehicle. And this is for the habitual, motorist that drives around Joliet, with tinted windows in the front, in the side. The officers cannot see. I really highly doubt our officers are gonna tow every vehicle that has tinted windows that violate this ordinance. Those are my comments.
Go ahead,
I got
Chief.
a question. Is there a way on this ordinance to put some type of where, again, a proof of they've gotten at least a warning already once before in any way? So that is, I guess, I don't know if like just having that one time they get pulled over and automatically get, not that that's gonna happen all the time, but like you said, it's gonna be up to the officer's discretion of how he wants to do it. If there's a way to do that out there, I'm not sure if that's possible.
There's no reason they couldn't, right? There's no reason they couldn't.
No, I mean,
Chief, can you, I'm sorry.
No,
Chief, can you weigh in? I mean, every traffic stop is documented. You could put notes in the call.
Yeah, you
I mean, we could kick this back down to the committee level and add that.
You most likely can add that in P1 for that particular license plate, so that the following officer has that information when he stops that car on a subsequent time. And keep in mind, it's not tint. It is excessive tint that is the violation.
Chief, and for me, I mean, we could kick this back, add that, then I think the general public, my colleagues up here, I believe will be satisfied that, you know, maybe there's a warning. You document it in P1. This is really geared for the habitual motorist.
That's correct.
Right, so I mean, I think we withdraw maybe our motions, if that's on the table, and kick this back down, add that language. That'll satisfy, I'm sure, a lot of people in the community and my colleagues, and we can go that route maybe.
I would agree. The ordinance that we're trying to get added, the language we're trying to get added into the ordinance, I don't believe in any way, shape, or form was any different than what you just said. So I would agree with you.
Well, is that something that we can do? I would feel
Okay.
satisfied if there
A
was.
table isn't ordered any time, so we can move to table it and second it and come back and redo it.
Sure.
Okay. Kick it back to committee, so you can table it?
I'll make a motion to table this item and bring it back down to the committee level and add that language, and then bring it back. We can discuss it again.
Councilman, I'll do some research in the time between as well.
Second, thank you.
Quick question, what meeting, you want a couple weeks, you want a month before it goes?
Yeah,
back
just
to
whenever you
committee?
get it done, I think.
Okay,
Next
at
meeting
our
we can
next
do it,
meeting,
yeah.
the next meeting. It's the fourth, it's the second Thursday of the month, okay. Just for verification.
it's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 377-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Article 4, Section 19-266, offenses subjecting a vehicle to impoundment, adding authority to tow vehicles for no insurance and tinted windows, to bring back to Land Use and Legislative, after which will be brought back to council. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
No.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried 8-1. Council Memo 377-23 was tabled. Under resolutions, Council Memo 379-23, a resolution approving the Community Development Block Grant Program Year 2023 Annual Action Plan to the 2020-2024 Consolidated Plan. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon?
I'm sorry. Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 380-23, resolutions associated with 275 West Laraway Road. This includes a resolution approving the dedication of a 1.8 acre portion of Marcella Avenue as public right-of-way, and a resolution approving the dedication of a lift station easement and a public utility and drainage easement located at 275 West Laraway Road. It's recommended said resolutions be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 381-23, a resolution approving the dedication of a 1.4 acre portion of Millsdale Road as public right-of-way. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Motion approved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 382-23, a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Joliet and the County of Will for the provision of police services mutual aid in the event of disaster or emergency. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 383-23, a resolution adopting and authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with the Illinois State Police for activities supporting the Violent Crime Intelligence Task Force. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 384-23, a resolution approving a letter of understanding with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the routine maintenance of the residential side of traffic noise abatement walls along the eastbound lanes of I-80, approximately 200 feet east of Rock Run Creek. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 385-23, a resolution approving a letter of understanding with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the routine maintenance of the residential side of traffic noise abatement walls at the Hobart Road and I-80 interchange. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 386-23, a resolution approving a letter of understanding with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the routine maintenance of the residential side of traffic noise abatement walls along the westbound side of I-80 at the Larkin Avenue interchange, eastbound side of I-80 immediately east of Midland Avenue, water main at Midland Avenue and I-80, and the highway lighting at the Midland Avenue underpass of I-80. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 387-23, resolution accepting a public utility easement and temporary construction easement from the Joliet Ravens Club for the combined sewer overflow long-term control plan, Phase 4, east side and west side combined sewer overflow regulators. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 388-23, resolution accepting a public utility easement from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago for the combined sewer overflow long-term control plan, Phase 4, east side and west side combined sewer overflow regulators. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So move.
Second.
Been motioned, seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Abara?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 389-23, resolution authorizing the release of executive session minutes. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 390-23, a resolution authorizing Amendment 1, Will Grundy Medical Clinic, CDBG, CV. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
Mayor and Council, I just had one item I wanted to remind everyone of. The City Square Design Open House is this Thursday at the Public Library on Ottawa Street from 4 to 7. So for yourselves and for anybody in the public that would like to have an opportunity to look at the preliminary conceptual design for the new City Square, that'll all be on display, and the consultants will be there to answer questions as well. So I'd encourage you to attend.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
Any comment? Sure.
Brad, I brought this up a while back, the parking study for downtown. Is it complete? Do we know if it's complete?
It
If
is.
it is, can we get a copy of it?
It is, Councilman. I don't know the dates preceding my involvement.
Yeah,
that
right.
it
I'm
came
just, I
in,
know
but
there's a lot on your plate.
I did check into it. I do have a copy of it. As you can imagine, it's rather hefty, so I'm going through it, but we'll have staff meetings here in the near future about next steps and what we do with that study.
Yeah, and I know you probably, the reason I bring it up is the parking deck issue and then the on-street parking with the meters. So thank you for that. And then secondly, I'm gonna bring up again the sidewalk grinder. I brought it up before. I know we're gonna start getting into budget talks. And, you know, I was just up in Morton Grove, and they are grinding the 1-inch, 2-inch sidewalks. I know, and thank you for the council and the mayor and everybody that we approved hundreds of thousands of dollars for sidewalk replacement. But while we're doing that, if we had this machine, we can go into these neighborhoods and grind down the 1-inch, 1-inch lifts up there, and we don't have to replace that for another whatever year or two. So we could do way more grinding than we can replacement for less money. So that's just kind of something I want to try to get going here, and if we can get that at least moving in the right direction.
Very good. Yeah, I'll work with Public Works to look into that and understand it a little bit further.
Yeah, thank you.
Larry?
Can I just really quickly, Mayor, expound upon what Mr. Tonelli said? Because it's going to be very exciting this Thursday night from 4 to 7 at the Joliet Public Library downtown. And we're very excited to share the design concepts with the community, and they will be here for your input Thursday night. So there'll be formal presentations happening throughout the night, and our design staff will be here to take every one of your inputs. So to all my residents in District 5 that continue to show up for things, please show up Thursday if you have the time from 4 to 7 and give them all the input on the city square, because it is going to be a huge project and it is really going to be fantastic. So please come Thursday night, 4 to 7, Joliet Downtown Library. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jan?
Nope.
Jerry?
No, thank you.
I've got just a couple things. Number one, I had a lot of really positive comments about Brad Cole and the IML that we did. A lot of people watched it online. I didn't realize it, but had a lot of positive feedback. It helped me and probably helped all of us out, and the residents as well. Something exciting this Friday is the grand opening of Lion Electric, the bus company, and it's going to be a bunch of heavy hitters. All the big politicians are going to be here, and Joliet will gather the spotlight on that. You know, it's the beginning of what's going to happen here in this county, where of the 102 counties, we are the star right now. We're the spotlight everybody's looking at, and we got to be really proud of what's going on around here. Now, lastly, I'd like to thank Sabrina Spano. She's been with us 5.5 years, and Sabrina will be leaving on the 21st, correct? Thank you for all your hard work and your service. Thank you.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
My name is Sarah Broadnax, and I live on the east side of Joliet. I live on 4th, and the street rundown is Miles. I'd like to say Joliet is a dirty city, especially east side. I don't know, like I said, when my mother gave me a chore to do, I better get it done and it better be done right. I'm complaining because of our drains down by Washington School, Chief School, and that bridge. I don't know, somebody hit it and the fence has not been fixed. And for me, my neighborhood officers, I like them, they do good. But people are driving and drinking and throwing out their beer cans and beer bottles on my lawn. I don't like it, because I'd be out there cleaning up. And as I walk my neighborhood, some people are not cutting their hedges and things. Where you walk, you gotta walk out in the street. And then there's trees hanging over the sidewalks. So the neighborhood, whoever's over the neighborhood watch service, they're not doing their job. And there are cars that don't have license and things that's parked there. And I know it's not supposed to be there. Cause see, I used to work for the Illinois State Police, and I already know some city ordinance and things. So I'm really saying over there on that east side, I just don't like it. And it's not right, and it's not fair. I pay taxes. So I think people that work, the city workers, they need to be doing their job. Because I don't like going out, getting leaves out of, and really, I can get them off the top, but in the crevice, I can't dig that out. So I'm just asking. And I know you just got in, so if you take a drive, you'll see. I want to tell you. And on the bridge, when that city sweeper comes, sometimes he comes on Wilson, turns, go across the bridge and go. That one day, I wanted to get in the car and follow him and ask him, come back and do our streets. So I'm saying, I'm asking. Because when I go south, when I drive south, hey, you don't see that. And when I went to Canada, they got signs up. If you get caught, you're gonna pay. So maybe we need to start putting up. If you get caught, let them get out there and pick it up. I'm gonna tell you, if I was a policeman, so I'm just asking. You, Jan, I'm asking, take a drive. Take a drive around, because I would. And I know you just got in, but you've been in. Okay. So the east side, I would drive it. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi, good evening. My English is very bad. It's not very good. Can you please translate for me?
Best I can, yes.
Algunos de los dos.
Mi inglés no es muy bueno.
Está bien, sin...
Pero yo quiero hacer unos
comentarios.
Sí,
Está bien.
sí, si puede decir su nombre para
Mi nombre
que...
es Mario Ramírez y vivo al 513 de la Jackson.
503?
Sí,
503 Jackson. 513 Jackson.
513.
East Jackson.
Y yo quiero hacer 3 comentarios nada más. Perdón. En mi calle, o sea, no en la calle, sino en la Yanks, la banqueta está muy mala. Yo me he caído ahí. Soy deshabilitado.
You just talk about right now the sidewalks on Young Street are just actually really bad, and he's fallen already once before.
Mi fence me lo han tirado muchas veces los borrachos.
¿Su cerca?
El fence, la cerca. Y yo decidí poner así de tabiques blancos. Entonces, está golpeado por donde quiera.
So he's got a fence that's been knocked down multiple times on the corner of Youngs and Jackson, ¿verdad? La
Sí.
Youngs y la Jackson?
Ya, Jackson, el año pasado un borracho se metió por la casa del vecino y maromeó el carro que llegó hasta mi casa arriba y rompió el porche. Eso me costó a mí porque yo mi didáctico era muy caro. Entonces yo tuve que pagar por eso porque este señor no tenía aseguranza y la policía se negó a darme toda la información de este señor.
So there was also a car accident where a car flew basically into his house, caused damage, but then the car was an uninsured driver, which in turn his deductible had to go up because he had to take care of the issue on this corner. Right?
Ok, ese es mi primer comentario. Segundo comentario es, la calle de la Jackson, en la intersección de la Youngs, hay muchos accidentes y ya ha habido muertos ahí desde hace mucho tiempo. El dueño de esa casa, el que me vendió esa casa, él me comentó que su hija fue muerta ahí, en ese lugar.
So he said the intersection of Youngs and Jackson is a very dangerous intersection. It's a very busy intersection. There's been multiple accidents. Some people have actually been killed at that intersection. So obviously trying to see if we can look into what we can do with that intersection, you know.
Entonces, yo lo que quisiera que pusieran una luz ahí, o que pusieran unos toques, porque yo mismo me he accidentado en ese lugar, porque la gente viene demasiadamente fuerte y lo que hizo esta persona, que yo venía de la Cali rumbo a ¿cómo se llama? Donde era Silver Cross antes. Él venía tan fuerte que me cruzó así y me pegó por un lado y me sacó para afuera. Entonces a mí me dieron ese ticket y no lo pude comprobar. Entonces perdí mi carro y quedé lastimado yo.
Con la misma.
Sí.
Yeah, so he also had himself suffered an accident on that same intersection. So he's requesting, is there anything we can do to look into possibly a stoplight, stop sign, speed bump, something? But I know that's Jackson, but that's his comment. Dice que tiene un comentario más porque quedan 10 segundos.
Si no se puede poner una luz, por menos que pongan 2 topes, 4 topes, para que la gente reduzca la velocidad en ese lugar. Entonces, ese es el segundo comentario. El tercer comentario, la gente planta árboles cerca de las líneas de los linderos, y mi vecino tiene muchos árboles, están dañando mi propiedad. Traté de hablar con él, pero no hace nada. Entonces, quisiera que hicieran una ley para que el que plante árboles cuide sus árboles y él mismo tenga que tumbarlos. Porque no tiene caso que yo gaste de mi bolsa para yo mantener sus árboles en su propia línea.
Okay. Ya se terminó el tiempo, ahorita les completo.
Eso es todo. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. So the last comment was that he was saying the neighbors planting trees close to his property line and wondering what kind of ordinance or what's there he can do if they're not taking care of their trees, which is just damaging his house, and or the trees being planted so close to the property lines, what he can do.
Mayor, we maybe suggest maybe Jim Torrey, maybe about the traffic. There's supposed to be a study and all that at that intersection, Youngs, and it's like a long process to get a traffic light there. I don't know if you can.
Councilman, I can address it. So I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Ramirez and his, I believe, son, if I'm not mistaken, Jesse, last week. They had, I think, a few years now that they have been asking for some considerations relative to the sidewalk and or traffic control devices at the intersection. So I appreciate the time they've come in to share with you, but the prior review from Public Works under our sidewalk program had been reported to them that they're eligible for the 50-50 share for the sidewalk repairs. To your comment, Councilman, the the process towards any kind of traffic control signal at an intersection is complex. Public Works did listen to the question and do an initial review of it and didn't, I believe my understanding was, find sufficient warrant or reasons to pursue it any further. So again, if there's a direction or concern, we can continue to look into it, but that's where it stood at this point, so.
Honorable Mayor Darcy, members of this council chamber, hello, hope all is well. So yes, the city manager is correct. That's my father. And I'm gonna speed mine up because I'm paying attention to try to keep it under my time. This is the second time minimally that we've come here. We came once before. We met a few of you, some of you are new. We miss Mayor Dirk. We miss some of the other people that are not here today, but we welcome the new mayor and the new person. I think it was really smart that you guys put up regarding the tinted windows and the uninsured dude, the situation where you give a warning first. I think that will clear up a lot of stuff and address the bad guys. So that's really good, just on the side. But please, don't ignore everything my dad said. If there's a translator, a transcript, video recorded, whatever, make sure you guys get the clear translation of what he said. I've lived there many years. In my childhood, I remember a drunk driver crashing into a police officer, and the two police Joliet officers were pretty badly hurt. One of the police officers came out, took out his gun, walked out, went to the drunk driver, aimed it at the guy, and the drunk driver was still pressing his gas pedal. This was many years ago when I was a young little kid went to the Dadies was still around. So anyways, nothing has changed. We have numerous accidents on our porch, on our area right there. We've had it fixed many times. One was just recently, about 2 years ago, it crashed into our neighbor's home, into our home. And just recently, my dad had crashed last year. So even though he said what he said, I don't know who knows traffic, called the cop maybe, prior, retired, whatever. But, they found my dad not guilty. And overall, that intersection has a lot of problems and a stoplight should be there. It's Illinois Department of Transportation, jurisdiction primarily, okay, but there are members of this community, of this board that have, methods of, working with the people that run that agency, and maybe there's our local state senators, our local, state representatives. We reached out to them as well. We're gonna hope that they do something, but since it's in Joliet and we have an interest in all of Joliet residents and all parts of Joliet, whether it's my, district representative or my at-large representatives or the other Joliet representatives, please do not ignore our requests about this very important topic. Now, the other part, the sidewalk. The sidewalk, there's a rule that they're mentioning. I think most communities, most residents would say that that rule is nonsense. Some people may have paid it. I don't know who's paying it. I'm assuming most are not. I don't know where all the communities that are in Joliet that are really nice, if all of them pay for it, or maybe some pay for it. But as you heard the other lady tell you about the east side of Joliet, luckily the part of Joliet that we're in, I would say it's actually improved a lot, and there's a lot of really nice areas. And on the intersection we're at, I don't know if it was because of nitric gas changing the pipes, and the Illinois Department of Transportation taking some responsibility on the intersection, they fixed our intersection. So the ADA compliance there looks really nice. But the part that belongs to Joliet as of today and as of like last year when we were here, Joliet doesn't seem to care too much about the ADA compliance, Americans with Disabilities Act compliance. My dad's retired, and there's other elderly people in our community, disabled members of our community, and according to federal law, the city of Joliet has to comply with the federal government. So unless the city of Joliet decides which laws it wants to follow and which ones they do not, I don't know how the politics works, but regardless, the city of Joliet has to fix our sidewalk. They should. So I don't know if it requires the federal government, the congressman, the state senator, the actual congressional senator to step in as well regarding that being a jurisdictional matter of federal law. But we would appreciate if you could take the time to look at the sidewalk, see how bad it is. It's not like a little pieces that are messed up. I actually have pictures. Anybody wants to see it, you can see it. Otherwise, if you go on Google Maps, you can see the sidewalk, how bad it is. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. And one last little note, not the city manager, but the traffic signal guy, whoever talked to me about the sidewalks, they actually said they do fix some sidewalks without the 50-50 program, but they're prioritizing the sidewalks that have the overgrown trees with the roots. So it's not like they're forcing everybody to do the 50-50 program. So, you know, I don't know who they're picking and choosing about forcing people to do the 50-50 program. But we shouldn't have to pay 50-50 program, we already pay property taxes. And not only do we pay property tax, but we involve ourselves in investing in Joliet in many, many ways, and we've been investing and growing Joliet in other ways as well. So thank you for your time. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I'm Jewel Houston, and I'd just like to address the question. I'm thankful that the, 377-23 was tabled. And my concern was what type of information is going to be put to the public so that you know whether or not your tinted windows is legal or not legal. And a lot of these people have bought these vehicles, depending upon what year it is, way back when, and they bought it from a dealership. They had no idea if it was legal or not legal. So are we gonna be checking with the car dealerships to make sure that they are selling to the public the tinted windows that are within your legal ordinance, so that they don't have to suffer the consequences? Think that's something that we consider. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak this evening?
Mayor, could we just address that quickly? Just that the ordinance that we're passing here doesn't have any determination on what is or what is not legal. So that's determined by state law already. So that would be 35% tint. So, you know, we're just in compliance with state law on that. So this is just issuing the ability for police officers to have the discretion to do that.
Could I make one comment too?
I understand that, you know, if you are abiding by what the law that the state has stated, okay? But most of the public have no idea about the degrees of tint for their windows, okay? And, you know, you say if you got a 2007 vehicle and everything, maybe back then it was legal, okay? But we have no idea that all of a sudden the state said it's illegal, you know? So this is something they need to know before they have to go through the hassle of being stopped and possibly issue the ticket and possibly having to go to court to keep their vehicle from being towed. That was my concern.
May I say something?
Sure.
So, Mr. Tonelli, do you think the possibility exists that we could make an arrangement where if they wanted to stop by the police station and have it tested just to know what level they're at to be in compliance or not?
I think that's a reasonable suggestion that we can look into for sure. Yep.
I'm gonna make note on that too. I believe the car dealers should have some responsibility on that, and I'll talk to some of them. It's true, we shouldn't sell them. We should know before we sell that car if it's legal. So I'll get some of those machines and I'll make sure we're all aware of that. Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak under public comments? Next is mayor and council comments.
We went through it.
I'll just say very briefly, just one final note on Council Memo 377. I may not be showing it now, but I just want everybody to know that I'm absolutely just bursting with joy at how that worked out. I came in preparing all day what I wanted to say, preparing for a fight on that one, and that went much smoother than I had anticipated. And I think it's a small but significant example of how, you know, members of the council might come in with different opinions on something, and we don't have to, you know, fall into disarray, that we can, you know, we can come together on things and we can reach reasonable agreements. So I hope that there's more of that. I hope that that's the way that we continue to do business around here, and looking forward to making those compromises and agreements with all of you all. So thank you.
Anybody got anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
I did receive a request for closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second.
The motion seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudron?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement? Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Are we staying here?
Jump up.
Split it out.